As you can probably tell by the very casual and cozy nature of how I'm filming this video, I wasn't actually intending to talk about this particular topic on the channel, but as you in the luxury community have probably seen, everybody and their dogs are going on about this Walmart Birkin scandal, or the Wirkin. And I just thought, given I'm a luxury creator first and foremost, let's put up a quick video talking about it. Not because I want to add to the noise or the bandwagon effect. It's more that I want to add a different set of perspectives. As a lot of you are probably aware, I'm not exactly somebody that follows Hermes. I'm not a super fan. I'm more of a Chanel girl, or even nowadays, I don't really buy that much luxury. I do have a vast collection already that I'm quite blessed to own. And so when it comes to the Birkin, the Kelly, those holy grail bags from Hermes, I can talk about it without getting into the whole mass psychosis of Hermes superfans. They have a cult following. It's a status symbol, isn't it, to own one of their coveted bags, of course the Birkin being the top dog amongst all of them. And so I'm personally already finding it a bit odd that people are going crazy over this supposed, you know, fake Birkin scandal, because there are plenty other important things going on in life. Clearly we are living in good times, because if this is honestly on the top of people's priority list, I honestly think we in the West in particular have it too good, because there are plenty of other things that probably should go viral than whether a fake Birkin bag should be flying off the shelves or not. Obviously, though, I appreciate in the luxury community, this is something that is quite important to a lot of people, because for a lot of folks who are Hermes super fans in particular, they are not happy with the fact that a Walmart supplier, because I don't think it was actually Walmart that launched the particular bag, has basically created a replica of the famous Birkin bag that is a fraction of the price. I think it was like $90. And while it's not stamped with the Hermes logo or anything, it's pretty much a one-to-one copy of the Birkin bag. And so by extension, a lot of super fans are thinking that it devalues and degrades the whole purpose behind getting a Birkin bag. It's not even necessarily buying the bag itself, which already is a very expensive purchase to make. It's upwards of what, $10,000. That's for like the basic version as well. Obviously you've got upwards of the hundreds of thousands if you're talking about the more rare bags like the Himalaya Birkin, the most expensive bag to be sold in the world. But it's also around the journey of how you got the opportunity to buy these bags, because you can't, unlike other brands, walk into an Hermes boutique and ask for a Birkin, because you'll also have to buy peripheral items that basically give you an opportunity to rise up the ranks, become a more VIP client, or at least persuade your sales associate that you are going to be afforded the honor of buying one of these coveted handbags. It's why they sell so high. It's why they basically market themselves. Hermes doesn't need a traditional marketing department in that way. They don't need to do sponsored Instagram posts, for example, or do big billboard campaigns. They're known for their workmanship, their heritage. Celebrities wear this bag. People constantly are making content around how they bought these coveted handbags. And so it's basically a product that sells itself. So that's why a lot of Hermes enthusiasts are very angry at the fact that this whole mystique around the brand, this status symbol, let's be honest, is now smashed, because you could just go on Walmart's website, which obviously was the main point of sale, place a quick order and get something that was, okay, not 100% identical, right? Because you've obviously got the fact that the Walmart Birkin, the Wirkin, was made with, I think, PU leather, but from far away, maybe if you were somebody that wasn't an Hermes superfan, you might actually think that that person was wearing an authentic, real Hermes Birkin, and the status that comes with that, you know, from that particular handbag. It commands attention in a room, and in a way I can kind of take the perspective of, you know, the whole eat the rich thing of all these other people have got your item. It's not special anymore. You can't go on about it in the same way. It's not a status symbol if everybody has your item, right? Let's say they were made to the same exact specifications with the same materials, with potentially be even the same hands, because, you know, there are obviously scandals by which workers from China or whatnot get shipped to France or Italy, and they create items that are then marketed as, you know, made in Italy or made in France, but they're actually made with foreign hands, or conversely, the bag is predominantly constructed in places like India, Vietnam, China, but only a small percentage of the bag is constructed in the flagship countries, that you can actually say the whole product is actually from that range. So let's say, for the sake of argument, that the Walmart bag, or even a fake bag, is made with the same measurements, perhaps even, you know, the same blueprints were maybe leaked or something. Can you then distinguish between what is real and what is fake if all of the other variables are the same? And I guess the only differentiator really is the in-store purchase experience. I don't really care too much about, you know, this whole scandal, but I understand, to those that have built their collections and relationships with sales associates, that this is basically like a punch in the face. And to spend money on, frankly, what is probably now useless tap just to be offered one of these bags. And look, I'm not going to judge somebody for what they choose to spend their money on or what really takes their fancy. Obviously, by being in the luxury niche anyway, a lot of people in the outside world will say and criticize the fact that we spend our money on what they perceive to be frivolous things. But I would say that I can understand and sympathize with the other majority of the population who want a slice of luxury, but it's getting further out of reach. People can often perceive those that are online parading around handbags as being very gaudy, showing off. And obviously, in a time where we have cost of living crises, we have conflicts that are happening around the world, it's a bit of a slap in the face to some, and quite insensitive perhaps, that there are individuals flaunting their wealth. And so I think this is a way of the normal people, if you will, that are turning the tables to basically be like, hey, well, look, now I can have this. I didn't have to play these stupid games. I paid a really low price for it. It's an unboxing, it's a whole experience, and then it's on to the next wish list item. So there's a very small high, and I think a lot of people will understand that this is just a shopper's high that will go. And in a cost of living crisis, it's not something that you can really afford to spank tens of thousands of dollars on. And so if they're going to just pay $100 for something that for them ticks a little bit of a box, that's just a bit of fun for them, then that's probably what they're thinking is a more financially viable thing to do than to spend hundreds or thousands of dollars on random items just to then be spending an additional tens of thousands of dollars on the actual handbag. It's a mystery of how they allocate these handbags, but one thing we do know is that there is that whole practice that is alleged, you know, in previous lawsuits around the tying of goods. It might not be written down, but it's an unwritten rule, shall we say, that you need to spend more to get more. But obviously, for the small percentage that can afford to play these stupid games, they're really happy that it kind of separates them from the rest of us, if you will. I find it really interesting, actually, just to pivot slightly, this particular scandal with Walmart is what's gaining traction, because let's be honest, counterfeits, dupes, etc. are not a new thing. We all know that DHgate and, you know, probably Temu, Alibaba, they produce or at least supply a lot of fake goods. Fakes are basically everywhere. They're flooding the market right now. Even super fakes are tricking the likes of authentication companies because they are so good and so accurate. This is not a new problem to have in this industry, but I find it super interesting, the timing of this particular Walmart Birkin scandal, especially hot off the heels last year of the fact that I mentioned earlier. Hermes has been embroiled in a California lawsuit around the tying of goods. There was a few disgruntled customers, shall we say, that didn't get offered these bags, so they filed a class action lawsuit. And obviously it's to do with the same notion of Hermes being a little bit elitist. They're playing stupid games with their customers, it's borderline unethical, and obviously it's just preserving this small 1% of people in the world who want to retain their prestige and want to have something that the other vast majority of the population does not have. But I think it's really interesting that Walmart, which, let's be honest, they have a lot of suppliers that sell as a third party in the same way Amazon has many other suppliers that sell through them as a third party. Obviously, they should do better jobs of vetting, especially when it comes to trademark law and all of that. this particular handbag obviously infringes a lot because it's obviously the same shape as a Birkin bag. So even if it doesn't have the Hermes stamped on it, it obviously breaches a lot of trademarks around the silhouette, etc., and the features. Everyone will look at that and be like, that is a Birkin bag. Walmart should have done their due diligence around this because they could possibly be embroiled in a lawsuit as well. I'm sure Hermes is actively pursuing that as we speak. But they have so many hundreds, potentially thousands of vendors on their particular site. I'm sure there are other handbags that are inspired by or potentially direct counterfeits. I'm sure Amazon has the same issue, Temu, all of these other websites that have other suppliers use them as a third party. I just wonder why on earth this particular bag from Walmart is garnering so much attention, because there are fakes absolutely everywhere. And I do wonder if it's just the tides turning from the broader population, and we're just looking for an excuse, I suppose, to end Hermes. Obviously, it looks like it's quite a big reaction to the never-ending games and exclusivity that brands in the higher luxury tier, so we are obviously talking Hermes, but also Chanel, Louis Vuitton. It just feels like the average person is being outpriced from being able to buy their Holy Grail items. So I think it's an interesting timing, but perhaps it's more a case of regular people being given an opportunity to taste the dream, you know, to hold something that is as close as perhaps they would ever get to owning one of these prestigious handbags. While I personally don't think it's ethical to support fakes, counterfeits, even inspired by, I feel like it's not ever going to be the real thing. You aren't ever going to have the same care and love for the item that you've bought that is faked. And obviously it can also fund things like human trafficking and drug rings and just general criminality. But I understand for those that are struggling but also have hopes and dreams, and or even those that have been saving for so long for their Holy Grail bag, only for price increases or quotas to basically snatch this dream from them. I can understand where inspired by items, fake items, can help fill that void. I myself count myself lucky that I was able to purchase a lot of my Holy Grail bag from many years ago before price increases. If I was even just like 5 years younger or something, or waited 5 years, I wouldn't be able to have the collection that I have. And obviously I worked very hard for the items that I have, but also it is a point of timing and luck. Nowadays, you'll see on my channel that I don't buy a lot of luxury because it's a crazy price. I'd have to play loads of games for it, and honestly the quality's not there. And so for that reason, I can totally understand and sympathize with those that are looking at the Walmart Birkin, that this is something that is feasible for them and they don't see what's wrong with it. If anything, they are sticking two fingers up at the establishment that is preventing them from buying the authentic ones. But I think I fall somewhere in the middle around this whole subject, because as somebody who buys authentic items and works hard for items, these are milestones, goalposts that I have. They are, you know, filled with sentimental value, and I treat them really well as a result, and they are heirlooms. They're going to be worth something in the future that I can give to my children as well. I don't see that with these fake imitation bags. Yes, the Walmart Birkin is a bit of fun. I'm sure you could go down the street, trick a few people with your bag. Maybe you might even feel fake it till you make it. But I do think that there is a moral, ethical code around buying these items. You are taking the trademark and the funding from those that have designed this bag, that work really hard to get this out there, this art piece ultimately to the public, and ultimately it could be funding nefarious aims. But I suppose in this particular moment in time, Hermes is probably public enemy number one. It's just a case of beating someone while they're down. And while I'm not the biggest fan of Hermes, I do think that they have their work cut out for them when it comes to their lawsuits, and the fact that the rarer they make their bags, the more fakes will be at the top of people's minds, because that's the only way they can access it. And perhaps super fakes will end up flooding the pre-loved market in particular, to the extent where you no longer know if you actually have a real handbag. And obviously this touches on so many other topics in regards to like counterfeit legislation. Obviously France notoriously has done a big ban on selling fake goods. I think that is the right way to go, but obviously it's hard to police because not everybody is a copyright expert, not everybody knows how to tell a real or fake. But then you also have the grey area of inspired by items or dupes. While an inspired by item might be able to legally jump some loopholes with some things that are basically distinct, we all have eyes. We all know exactly what the handbag's going for. I personally think that if you want the real thing, you should try to get the real thing, and if you can't, which I understand is not viable for a lot of folks out there, then get something that is actually different and unique, because I don't necessarily think that buying an inspired by or an imitation handbag will quench your thirst for that particular item. I think you'll still always want it. And also, I feel like personally, it would be super embarrassing if people were to openly mistake your handbag for a real thing and then you have to correct them that it's a fake. This has actually happened in my actual life with a colleague who was wearing a fake classic flap and it had the actual CCs on it, and someone remarked, wow, that's a really nice Chanel bag you've got there. And she actually had to say that it was fake because the person pressed her, not in a malicious way, but was more like, wow, you brought a Chanel bag into work. And she's like, actually, it's fake. And it's a bit awkward. Some people have thick skin. For me personally, it's not something that I would feel comfortable with. But if you're of a certain age demographic, perhaps this is something that you can use and it's disposable and you don't have to care too much about someone stealing it from you. Or if times are tough, but you do want a slice of luxury, then maybe, yeah, you will openly have that conversation with somebody and be proud of it because you feel like you are sticking two fingers up at the brand. Imitation is flattery, I suppose, but I don't think it's an industry that you can exactly stop. There will always be counterfeits and imitations, but we just need to educate people on the fact that, yes, you might be getting a small win right now, but actually you're paying more compliments to the original brand. It's not going to stop people from wanting Hermes bags, to be quite honest with you, because then it will still be a status symbol that theirs is the real deal. And then you're lumped with a bag that you can't sell, that you can't pass on because it's worth nothing, but also it's fake. And in some countries, it is illegal to carry fakes. So you're left with a little bit of a problem later down the line. But of course, no one is thinking about that right now. Everyone just wants to go viral and have something that is, jumping on a trend. But now I think the handbag is sold out everywhere. It's been removed from Walmart's website. But I do believe on TikTok shop, you can buy from them. But again, that goes to my earlier point around it's kind of like a Medusa's head or a serpent's head in which you cut off one and another grows back. They're just popping up so quickly that I don't think it's the Walmart issue. It's a wider counterfeit issue. And is it becoming mainstream? Is it becoming a point of pride now? So much to unpack, and obviously I've spoken for far too long already, but I would absolutely love to know what you guys think about it. And if you like this more casual format for breaking news like this, then let me know, because I will absolutely film it in this style because it's just less work for me to set up lighting and all of that business. But I will leave this video here. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll catch you in my next one.